Hello, everybody. It's your friendly neighborhood INFP, and as I was scratching my head trying to figure out what videos I wanted to focus on and all of that, and just questioning everything as you do, the topic of the imposter syndrome came up, and that actually gave me a pretty good idea. Now, there are a lot of MBTI types out there who do and will suffer from imposter syndrome. It is not just the INFPs, it is a wide variety because imposter syndrome can affect many different types. But I'm going to be looking at the INFP and why the INFP might be suffering from an imposter syndrome. Why I myself might be suffering from an imposter syndrome now, while I can't say for sure. There is elements at some point or time a person is going to look at themselves and feel like their achievements aren't their own, as if somebody else did the things that they did, as if their accomplishments, their intelligence, their abilities, all of that isn't them. It's somebody else. They don't know who it is. They're disassociating from that accomplishment, that success, that thing that they're good at, whatever it may be, and they're disassociating from it. They're not seeing that, yes, that's them. And it is, and can be, honestly, quite a heavy bit of a limiter on to people. With the case of a INFP, the reason why an INFP might enter into a imposter syndrome is, and I've said this many times before, INFPs are the types of people who are constantly on a journey of the self, even until the day they die. Until the day they die, they are constantly searching for who they are. They're constantly questioning what it means to be them. They're constantly questioning their inner workings. They're constantly questioning whether that is who they are, whether the thing that they should have done is the thing that they should have done. There's a lot of questions and self actualization and self growth, and a lot of that is usually what it goes through an INFP's life cycle. Unlike, like I said before, unlike a ISFP who treats what they do as an extension of themselves, as a mastery of themselves, INFPs are more of a person of a questionable nature. They question themselves, they question their reality, they question who they are. And a lot of this can be implemented into why an INFP would suffer from imposter syndrome. Because during that period of questioning, say an INFP is an amazing artist, they've brought out brilliant pieces of art, and then they're like, yeah, that isn't me, that I don't feel like I actually did that. And it's, whether it's due to self-esteem issues, which a lot of INFPs can have, whether it's due to a sort of disassociation, which a lot of INFPs have, whether it's due to a certain set of perfectionist standards that a bunch of INFPs can have, where they look at something and they're like, and not even in the sense of this isn't perfect, but it's too perfect. This isn't me. Like, I can't believe I did something this good because I am not this good. I'm not this perfect. Even if there is some kind of flaws, they may see that thing that they accomplished and see that this is perfect. I'm not this perfect. This can't be me. I'm not this good, which also then ties back to previous self-esteem issues that they can and will like struggle through, which can be like things like self-hatred, self-doubt, self whatever negative aspect you want to put on there. And that then ties into the whole negativity of looking at something and going, yes, I did that. Yes, that is my work. Yes, I want the accolades for that. Yes, people are finally starting to notice my work. Not necessarily them, although that would be nice in some cases. But they are looking for, that approval, that sense of success. Yet with imposter syndrome and, the INFP's tendency to escape and be part of escapism, which is not entirely healthy, especially in this case, definitely not healthy. The escapism in an INFP tied to self-doubt and a bunch of other negative emotions is going to look at that and go, no, that can't be me. I couldn't have done that. How did I do that? How did I get there? How did I manage to achieve this because of, underlying issues, whatever those may be. Now, with the underlying issues being said and done, the question then becomes, how can a INFP go from feeling like they're in that stage of being an imposter, that it doesn't feel real to them, that they're looking on the outside in or the inside out, whichever way it goes. How can an INFP break through and realize that no, that is because remember, INFPs are also about staying true to themselves. They know that they've accomplished it, that they did it, but they're asking the question, how could I have done this? How could I have been so successful? How did I manage to do this? If I can't figure out how I did this, then this doesn't feel like me. It doesn't feel like something I've done. It doesn't feel like I managed to do this. Until they kind of figure out that, you in fact did manage to do that, and here's how you managed to do that through your own blood, sweat, and tears, that you managed to accomplish this amazing piece, whatever that piece may be. Let's look at art, for example, because art is easy to show. Like, imagine if Leonardo da Vinci was showing the Mona Lisa, and you looked at that going, I don't feel like I did that. But like everybody else knows he did it. He himself knows he did it. The person who it's modeled after knows he did it. After all, she must have sat in that chair for hours. For a person with imposter syndrome, it doesn't feel like they did it. There's a disassociation there. And I don't know all the ways to fix that disassociation, how a person can essentially brush it away, not let the perfectionistic standards, not let the guilt of success, because that is actually a thing of, okay, I'm this successful, but they're not this successful, and there's this guilt that you actually succeeded where other people haven't, but that's a topic for another time, if I ever remember to talk about it, because of all these things. And hey, maybe they were never complimented enough. Maybe they're not used to compliments. I don't know fully the ways as to how one can break out of the imposter syndrome. But I do feel personally, on a personal level, at least on my side as an INFP, it may be completely different for you guys who have suffered through imposter syndrome. You guys may have broken out of it in quite a bit of a different way, but I, as an INFP, and for like other INFPs, I'm sure, unless your situation is different, which case you can let me know down below, I believe positive affirmation, positive emotions, positive self-actualization, positive self-awareness, positive criticism, because yes, there is such a thing as positive criticism, where it looks at the things and it's kind of on the same lines as constructive criticism. You're not praising them, but you are kind of showing, hey, this is where I think you can improve, and that can be like, oh, okay, there's still some improvement that I can do, and therefore, yeah, this is my thing. I can do better, and, the whole perfection, especially if it's tied to perfectionism. Especially if it is tied to perfectionism, that is where that can help a lot. But, like, complimenting on them on their work, and like making them used to it, because a lot of INFPs and introverts in general, and even to some extent extroverts, aren't as used to compliments as other people are. They aren't used to receiving thank yous. They aren't used to receiving, oh, this is really good. They aren't used to receiving all these positive affirmations and compliments that show them that no, they are in fact doing a really good job, and that they don't need to beat themselves up about wondering whether or not they are doing a good job, and that so that when they feel like, you know, they've done a good job and everybody loves it, they don't have to feel like an imposter in that situation. Now, in some cases, it will, you know, still come because, you know, there are mental struggles that everybody goes through, and I believe imposter syndrome is one of those mental struggles that a person will go through no matter what type you are. You're always going to go through it. But I believe like a whole lot of positive affirmations, compliments, positive critiques, like constructive positive critiques, being like, okay, you did really well on this side, but this side could use improvement type of critiques. And then just things that help them get out of a kind of self doubt, self hatred, whatever negative self thing there is out there that can lead into imposter syndrome. Because remember, if they're always seeing themselves in a negative light, the moment when they do something positive, they're not going to believe that they themselves did it, ergo imposter syndrome. And ergo, this is where I believe it would be very helpful to a lot of people to show that it is them, like to help guide them through. Now, a lot of these can be due to a loop, some kind of loop that they're going through. Like for an INFP, that would be a 5-side loop, or it could even be a grip that they're going through. Whatever the case, there needs to be a connection made between them and the thing that they did that allows them to accept it, in order to not feel as though they are an imposter, as to, like, even in the sense of intelligence, where they feel that no, they are actually quite intelligent and it's not actually somebody else speaking through them. And it's funny because I used to think that imposter syndrome was just something that would fall onto other people who were like trying to be something they were not. But that isn't what it is at all. Imposter syndrome is honestly a disassociation with the thing that you managed to accomplish. And that can lead to negative places and lead you to not doing the thing in which you wanted to do. And honestly, those are, I don't know what other ways aside through positive reinforcement of many sorts that could break a person out of that. That's just my thoughts on the matter. If you have your own thoughts, let me know, and I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.